Kicking this right off. Get ready to go right into prayer. Oh, we got somebody calling. Wrong time. Assalamu alaikum. Pop Keys. Basheer Farad Muhammad. Better known to some as Basheer Farad Muhammad, Brother Captain. Coming in tonight as usual. With that prayer, got to give all praise to Allah, who came to it in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who was to come and has come. Restore we who are lost from our own kingdom of Islam, and to destroy those who have destroyed us. Thou art God, O Allah, we are thy people. Deliver us from the murders of serving the Betty all the days of our lives. We teach our children to submit to thee, to that unequal love and mercy for thou. And thanks to you, Allah, for making manifest to us our enemy, the devil. And help us, O Allah, to live the life and die the death of a Muslim. I bear witness there's no God but Allah, and I bear witness he came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I bear witness the most honorable Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, is his last and greatest apostle. Well, thank you, Allah, for this day, and thank you for this gift of life. I pray, O Allah, that you remove the heart of the devil from the black nation and replace it with one like their own. Alhamdulillah, Tabir Akbar, La Wakbar, La Wakbar, La Wakbar. Good night, everyone. I pray all is well with everyone. I pray all is well with the black nation. You know, I'd like to start off with just giving honor and thanks to Dr. King. This is his birthday. He was a great man. He sacrificed himself for the betterment of the black people in America. He was assassinated and cold-blooded murdered for those efforts. He was a man of peace. He didn't believe in violence. He was striving to bring about a change, ultimately for black people in America, because he knew if he could raise the black man in America, ultimately we could change the whole planet. But he came a danger to our open enemy, and they murdered him cold-bloodedly. The question is, why? Because the heart of the devil, he has no soul. He hates to see the rise of the black people in America because he understands better than you. Our rise represents his demise. And the cracker that they accused actually of murdering him, James L. Ray, we know it was a conspiracy by the government of America, the U.S. military, CIA, and what have you. He actually was from my hometown, James L. Ray. I think that old brown house that he stayed in is still there. Old Southern cracker they use as the fall guy. So we want to give thanks for this man because a lot of great men have come before our time and before your time and sacrificed themselves, striving to turn back the injustice and discrimination, segregation, and racism that they were facing in every day of their lives, wanting equal opportunities for themselves, for their people, for their families. And they were taken off this planet. While they sit around and had picnics, while you had black men being burned at the stake, hanging from trees, while their little children ran around having fun like they're in the park, somewhere at Disneyland. So you all need to remember these little opportunities that you have in front of you because people sacrifice their lives. Now, the clock is being dialed back. Question is, it's your time now. What you're going to do or you was able to grow up and take everything for granted. You have all the good times. You can go to college. You can go drink from any fountain. You can go to any building. You had all these so-called civil rights. You can go to school. You can sit with white folks. You can go into the same school with them. Sit across the desk from them. You can go into the same bars. But at the same time that we were allowed to so-called integrate, the king was about so much within his integration meant this. We should be able to go to any bar, restaurant, school that we chose to go into. But what they did, they pushed integration on us where we gave up our own establishments. We gave up our own stores, our own hotels, our own entertainment centers. We left our own black school where we're getting properly educated to go into the schoolhouses with white people and be discriminated against, spit on, had to be escorted by the military, the National Guard, or the police. And we lost all of that. That's why in 2022, we don't have any wealth at all. When I listen to the stories of the old timers would talk about how they had it going on. And as I was growing up, I seen a lot of black men had their own businesses that don't exist today. So we got tricked, just happy to go sit with white folks that were spitting your food. Now we don't have any of that. So it's your responsibility, people, to take it all the way now. It's our responsibility to go to straight freedom, justice, and equality and pure liberation. Because now they're sitting here and thinking, this is the mind of the devil in 2022. They think, they really think that they can turn the clock back and put us in that same condition. They got the nerve to even think about trying to put us into slavery again. But I beg the difference, period. One thing that they're not taking into account, I'm not my ancestor. They were very brave people and sacrificed their lives. You understand? But now today, in 2022, the warriors are on the scene, the Saladats, the soldiers are on the scene today. We will not go back in time without a fight. That's for sure. Some of you won't, so you'll be wrapped up in them damn chains and taken back. Whatever they want to do to you. But one thing about it, we will die on our feet, fighting for our freedom in this day and time. Look at what's going on in America. America is divided right now. They're on the brink of what they call a civil war. There's nothing civil about it. And we're right in the middle of it. Talking about voters' rights, it's deeper than the voting right, brothers and sisters. The Supreme Court is being stacked right now as we speak. We got our older black people. Only thing they know is to vote, try to get that Voting Rights Act established, trying to get the George Floyd bill passed. But it's not going to happen, in my estimation. And if it did, it really wouldn't make a big difference. This is the time for a complete change that's getting ready to take place in this country, on this planet. So you better prepare yourselves for the hard times that's getting ready to come upon us. Store shelves are empty. Not very much in the stores. White folks are bickering amongst themselves because of you and I. You understand? This is the fall of America. They're trying to find a way to eliminate many of the original people on the planet through the food, through these so-called vax, and other numerous of ways that they're coming at us. But what they don't take into account is that true and living God is on the scene today. Some of y'all believe in the mystery God, that's your business. But I'm here to tell you that true and living God is on the scene today. It's causing war. Has all the power of all of the elements, the fire, the water, the air, the earth. Earthquakes are coming. Fire, hail, snowstorms that you could never imagine will hit this Caucasian. And will hit some of us. It's not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because your freedom is right around the corner, black people. You got to understand this beast. And I talk about it because I have to. I'm not sugarcoating. I'm not running for office. I'm not looking for a position. And then the messenger of Almighty God himself brought us certain knowledge and information about this day and time. And everything that he has given us is coming to fruition. That's why I warn a lot of brothers and sisters right now. They say they follow the teaching of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Keep his teaching out front. Don't put them teachings behind your back, brothers and sisters. This is the wrong time. Never forget who raised all these strong men, these great men that you see coming before you today, including our great minister Farrakhan, Malcolm X, 19 Keys, myself, and thousands of other men. If it wasn't for this little man from Sanderville, Georgia, none of us would be here right now. I say that to all the Muslim family, because if you keep your foundation in place, irregardless who had to leave this planet, if the minister, everybody is born to die. If he leave, for all the brothers leave to carry this knowledge, but if you understand the foundation that they stand on, then you're sufficient. You understand? That's your guide and that's your blueprint, black man, black woman. You know, a lot of you all don't really want to hear these teachings. Well, you need to listen, because it might save your life and it might save your seed. It will give you a way out of the destruction that's coming. The white man is getting ready to destroy himself, getting ready to go to war. He can't help it. It's in his nature. Famine is coming to America. So I pray to everybody, even the Muslims, you should be building up your survival kits right now. How many signs that you had to be given? But we still just moseying on along. We still going to and fro. And you can see with your eyes what's coming your way. Understand? But you have this illusion in your mind. Not now. It is now. You know, I spoke on this area that I'm in about the brothers being kind of soft. I spoke on the brothers in the Bay. I had so many brothers hit me up this week. I mean, they hit me up. I thought maybe the government was doing some of this stuff, because a lot of the brothers from the coast tapped in. You understand? Because that West Coast is a special place in the Bay. That Port of Oakland is very important. A lot of knowledge has come out of debate. You understand what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters? There's a lot of soldiers, a lot of people that's mentally aware of the time we're living in and looking for that proper leadership. So when we get hit, we know how to respond. We coming out there in actionary response. We got to get away from that. We got to go on direct preparation. Young black men period, have got to start making proper decisions about themselves and their lives. Quit taking everything for granted. Quit taking their lives for granted. Allah, that created himself, is a warrior. Period. When he spun around the trip of darkness and brought himself into existence, and he was all alone for trillions of years fighting darkness. That is the spirit of a warrior. Period. Well, we're going to tap into some things, and now I want to go into Brother Nuri's Muhammad book a little bit. I've always wanted to give you something from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, from the Message to the Black Man, so we can start getting our house together and start getting our relationships and our marriages, or whatever they might be, back in order. I'm not coming from the Christian mentality, because if the Christians really understood, it's all the same. So that means I didn't get my knowledge to take my knowledge from the slave master. So we have a different mindset. We're in it to win it. Striving to be the best of the best of all the rest. Whatever you do it like a God. If you mop the floor, mop it like God will mop that floor, black man. Because that's exactly what you are. And black woman, know who you are. Do you know who the first Muslim really is? Before Abraham, before Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was the black woman. Period. She was the first to submit to the Creator himself when he brought woman from self. So we're going to cover that a little bit tonight. Black women need to know who they are. So you have that foundation in your mind, so you have something to battle yourself with. We're all in a battle with ourselves based on the lack of knowledge of self. Got us moving all type of funny ways out here because of the lack of knowledge. But I want to just give you this a little bit tonight, especially maybe some new people if they tap in, I don't know. But it said, get the knowledge to benefit self. This is the message to the black man. I'm just going to give you a little bit of this. He says, I am for the acquiring of knowledge, or the accumulation of knowledge, as we now call it. Education. First, people must be taught the knowledge of self. That is so key. Then only then will they be able to understand others and that which surrounds them. Anyone who does not have a knowledge of self is considered a victim of either amnesia or unconsciousness. If we walk around blind, deaf, and dumb today, and is not very competent. The lack of knowledge of self is a prevailing condition among my people here in America. Gaining the knowledge of self makes us unite in a great unity. We all over the place. Knowledge of self makes you take on the great virtue of learning. That's why I spend most of my day now, I'm studying, seeking some type of knowledge. You know, we ain't got a TV up in there. We got one of the damn thing in the closet. You understand? Because I know we got to put something in our cap now. We got to be able to come up with solutions, true solutions to our problems. I can't tell you nothing about no damn score. I can't tell you nothing about the games from Sunday or Saturday. Right now, it's irrelevant. You understand? I was born with a responsibility. And sure, what the hell to know the score. Many people have attempted to belittle or degrade my followers by referring to them as unlettered or unschooled. They do this to imply that the believers in Islam are ignorant. If such a claim were so, then all more credit should be given to our striving for self-elevation with so little. But truth represents itself and stands by itself. No follower nor any other people are more serious about the acquiring of knowledge than my followers. Throughout the Holy Quran, the duty of a Muslim is required knowledge is spelled out. People should get an education which would benefit their own people. We're getting educated to go off into the white man's world and to build his world. And we have done a good job. Now it's time to get the knowledge to turn around and build our own world, black people. I'm tired of seeing all that great and brilliant minds going into the Caucasian world, and they're just using us and hating us at the same damn time. Everything that's been brought into assistance and technology will come out the mind of black people. And a damn thing will come out of his mind. He stole it from us, or he got it from us and put his stamp on it. If you really, really get down and start to look at what's going on, all divine knowledge come through the mind of the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, that God of the universe, through the womb of the original woman. Powerful, really the most powerful being on the planet is the black woman. But she don't know. She's been made other than herself. The damn shame. When we get rid of this devil, then we're going to have to deal with our woman. To be honest about it, we got to get her right back on the square. Not all of your sisters, but you know what I'm talking about. We need education, but the education removes us from the shackles of slavery and servitude. Get an education, but not an education will leave us in an inferior position. Look at the education we got. We're still in the same damn position. What type of education is that? Get an education, but not an education that leaves us looking to the slave master for a job. Education for my people should be where our children are off to themselves for the first 15 to 16 years. And classes separated by sex. Then they could and should seek higher education without the danger of losing respect for self or seeking to lose their identity. Look at our children losing their identity left and right in this school system. Coming home, don't know what they should believe or what they should know, if they're a man or they're a woman. Look at what they're doing. They're wasting us. No people strive to lose themselves among other people, another people except the so-called American Negro. They do this because of their lack of knowledge of self. Go to Chinatown. They got their own schools. Children run around the playground, having a good time, laughing and just playing. They got their own schools. They got their own banking system. They got their own financial community where they pool their resources. And you don't see no black folks working down there, do you? Because they got a code of conduct amongst themselves. Where's our code of conduct? Oh, it's about the streets. It's about the devilishment. That's the code of conduct we got. Don't come on my block, don't wear these certain colors. You understand? If you rob me or if you steal from me, if you take my package, then I got to do something to you because that's the code of the streets. You got little brothers running around here disrespecting the dead. But you come out of jail with makeup on. You understand? And you got nerve to disrespect another brother been knocked off. To just keep confusion going on amongst ourselves. No, things are going to have to change. I just want to give you a little bit of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Message to the Black Man. Everyone should have this book. Some of you are scared to get this book. Some of you got something negative to say about this book. You refuse to even pick it up. You refuse to even study it because your mind has been conditioned by your open enemy to deny yourself. You understand? But I tell you this, you need to pick it up because that mighty FOI might be the one that has to save your butt and your family, because we're not rolling over. We know the white man, when he get ready to make his move, we're going to be some of the first ones he come for. We know that a lot of us will occupy the jailhouses of America. They ain't dumb. They military men. They highly strategic. You understand? They ain't going to leave the soldiers out here to wreak havoc on their butts. That's why they're knocking off as many of us as they can right now. Talking about you and I. That's why they turning our brothers and sisters out. Putting that feminization in them. In the food and every damn thing. Little brothers is holding hands and kissing. You got little girls having sleepover parties and doing everything imaginable. They're coming home like, when they come back home all prissy and acting all innocent. You understand? Unbeknownst to the parents, because the parents be glad to get them out the house sometimes. You got to stop that. I'm going to my tidbits a little bit. It says, here in the United States, we're in a grand transition from white majority country to a white minority country. This is what's going on. See, you sleep on it because you're not paying attention. But the white man is fully aware. This is what Trumpism is all about. This really is what that so-called Democratic Party is all about. But they just playing the masses of the people. You understand? Because they know either way it goes, they're going to be good. You understand? That's why they put, that's why they put old man Biden in the White House. And that Mormon out of Utah, he said, we don't know what's wrong with Biden. He said, hell, the only reason we put him in there so we can calm things down. What is he trying to do? He's trying to bring about a whole different, that ain't the plan. He said, that's not our plan. But Biden started bringing in, helping people to get on their feet. He said, no, that wasn't the plan. That was just to get Trump out the way. You understand? So we can do things in a more calmer and civilized manner, but the agenda is still the same. We need to solidify power because we can see our grip on power that we're losing. And they said then, because they said, damn, he had enough nerve to take a black woman and make her vice president. You understand? So we had to get riled up because they put Obama in there. But we know we had him under control. But symbolically, the white man is looking at a loss of his power. He knows the scriptures better than you. He knows it's been predicted that he will fall and the rise of the original man will take place on this planet. He knows these things. So he said, well, hell, if I go down, I'm going to try to take as many of them as I can. You understand? That's the plan of the Caucasian. You can take it and let it alone. It says, a once powerful group tends to not go down without a fight. A once powerful group, once upon a time. You understand? He ain't going down without a fight. It's in his nature. That's all he knows. Look at all the wars that he has fought and continues to fight and will fight. World War II, World War I. They murdered millions and millions and millions of Caucasians on this planet. They're half a tick now from going to war. They really want to fight the Chinese, but the Russians are bucking for their position. They just a half a step of trying to drop nuclear bombs. But being a follower of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we ain't worried about that. This is our planet. They will not be allowed to destroy the Creator's planet, period. That's why you can see them putting little things out now in various media outlets talking about the shadow man. Where they sitting in these nuclear facilities, but they seeing these dark beings, they call them shadow men, that's going to and fro in their facilities. Understand? They see these orbs sitting on the nuclear facilities, taking off at will. Now, brothers and sisters, them are our peoples. That's that original black man. That's here. You can take it or let it alone. Pretty soon you'll be snow dropping out the sky as high as the rooftops. So says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You understand? Some brothers say the minister said that. No, he said it. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told it to him what's getting ready to come about on this planet. You see America over there in the Asian Pacific. They will lose their 7th fleet, messing around, trying to surround the Chinese. And quite frankly, I don't give a damn about the Chinese. They showed a clip where the brother was playing basketball in China, and the little Chinese sitting there calling niggas that they were coming out onto the court. Put the black Africans out of their homes over in Wuhan in China, disrespecting them, talking about they brought the virus and they damn well they developed it with America's help in China, off in the motherland, taking control of the resources because you got them despot, tyrannical governments that's selling out the people for wealth. Now we got a bone to pick with all of them. Like I said last week, we got a bone to pick with the Arabs. You understand? To help sell us out into slavery. No. That mighty, mighty fruit, that Asiatic black man, backed by Almighty God Allah, who came to the person of Master Fraud Muhammad and no death angels. We gonna come for you. And we be justified. The prodigal son will go back home. Period. So we ain't worried about it. Period. We know the fight is coming because the war is over, black people. I got to talk like this because I carry that spirit of a warrior by the Creator himself. And there's thousands of us the same way, millions of us the same way. They're just waiting for that trumpet to blow. Oh yes, black people. There's a new man on the scene today. We ain't going back in no damn shackles. I'll never forget when them crackers sent me to prison. I ain't never went to prison on no dumb shit. You understand what I'm saying? I went to jail for standing up, fighting this beast. 2 counts of aggravated battery when they jumped on us. You understand? But we fought. And we fought. Well, they begged us to get in the damn car. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't never forget when they convicted me and they shackled me, and I thought about the movie Kunta Kinte. Hand was shackled in the front, feet shackled, put on that damn bus, rode down these old country roads, going down to Mississippi, down in the red bud, all number crackers. Understand? Only time I felt, damn, like a slave. Hey, this is damn shit. But you know, it didn't break my spirit, it just got stronger. Soldier in, soldier out. That's the way we got to be, black people. It says, everything in creation is a manifestation of the will of God. Everything. All creation express the attributes of characteristics of the mighty being, the originator of the heavens and the earth. But the will of God is the power behind the throne. The will of God is the power behind the universe, its creation, its maintenance, and its sustenance. All praise due to Allah. Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that in the universe, there were once only three things in existence. Say it again. Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that in the universe, there were once only three things in existence: electricity, material darkness, and the thought of God. That's another tidbit. Do you know that the white man's world is diametrically opposed to the black man being successful? Do you know that? Or do you just think that all black men are lazy? We don't know what the hell we're doing. We just don't want nothing in life. But this world has been set up to oppose us from Jump Street. As men, we must have a warrior mentality with everything we do in the white man's world if you want to be successful. Engage in self-study and analysis. Be highly organized, like the originator. Be highly organized, like the originator. That's why I like things around me. Organized. Everything in your closet should be organized. All hangers should be going the same way. You got your shirts, you got your slacks, you got your suits. In your drawers, all your socks should be in one drawer. The so-called wife beaters and t-shirts in another drawer. Your underwear in another drawer, everything folded up. Your bed should be made up every day. Your shoes should be in an orderly fashion. Your house should be in an orderly fashion. Because this is the will and the nature of the Creator himself. It says, be highly organized like the originator. Be a producer. Be patient. Hardworking. Create a righteous environment. See, that's a lot of mistakes that we make. We set up a niggly environment in our homes. You got cigarette butts laying around. You got blunt buds laying around. You got beer cans, alcohol sitting all on the damn counter. But you're trying to tell your children to be all right, to be upright. You got all that old foul music that's playing. Using every type of foul language in the house. You got a very negative atmosphere in the house. No learning environment at all. Only teacher in the house is the TV. That ain't the way the original man is supposed to move. Be mentally fit, physically, and financially. Say that again. Be mentally fit. Get your minds and thoughts together, brothers and sisters. Quit letting everything affect your mind. Quit letting everything take you out your character. You understand? The way you don't even love yourself. You contemplate death all the time, suicide. You don't even know how to care for your own baby sometimes. You understand? And you let people come in your house and abuse your children. You abuse one another because we're not mentally balanced. Be physically fit, brothers and sisters. Stay sharp. Keep your weight in check. Quit eating all that heavy food. Eat to live. Work out. Do your whatever you do, push-ups, sit-ups, stretching, all of these things are very important. You keep that mind sharp, you keep the body sharp, and work on your finances. But one thing about it, you can't be lazy. You got to know how to control your energy. You understand? Even when you're tired, you got to know how to get up, roll over, and keep pushing. You know, when we worked in the bakery, we put in sometimes 18 hours a day. Sometimes we'd be challenging one another, who can work the longest. You understand? Say, damn, this brother, come on. You understand? But ain't nobody gonna quit. You understand? Ain't nobody, we done already put in 18 hours damn near. You understand? We got to get right back up at 5. It's already 12 right now. Then you got an hour post you got to put in. But ain't nobody want to quit till the job is complete. You understand what I'm saying? And you roll over and get up, get right back on your post. You understand? That's what make a man out of you. You understand? When you learn how to control your energy. And work is better than prayer. I say it again. Work is better than prayer, because the idle mind is the devil's workshop. All you got to do is sit around the house thinking some foolishness. Understand? All you got a lot of time, that's how women be on your butt, because they sit around the house thinking about how I'm going to get this butt today. Understand? They done thought about every damn thing. By the time you get the house, the plan go into effect. You understand? But when you got that righteous environment, all she do, like I said in one clip, every time the man pull up here, she run out the house, running to the car. You understand what I'm saying? Hell, glad to see her husband pulling up. You understand? See, we can do these things if we get our mind together, brothers, and get up out of this metaverse, this false metaverse that we've been put in. That's the reality of the Caucasian. That ain't our world. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, you know, the only power that we have is over our woman. You don't have that. Not too much of it. That's why she's rebelling. You understand? She wants to go to God. You understand? Woman wants her man to take her to God, to that divineness. That's part of her nature. And black man, if you don't understand who you are, see, when the Creator brought himself into existence, and he went inside himself and brought out woman, then who the hell are you? You're a direct descendant of the Creator himself. He didn't make another man till he made woman, fool. You understand what I'm saying? Some of you don't. But those that do, you understand. Let me go on. It says, at the same time the originator created himself, he created his home, the earth. I didn't say woman. I said at the same time, at the period of time he did, he created the earth. Why did he create the earth first? Because he wanted to make sure he had a home for his woman. The earth and man are one and the same. The black woman was here before the sun, moon, and stars. The first characteristic that you have to have if you're going to be a real man, listen, is you must be a warrior. You cannot be a weak-willed man if you want to survive in this world. Any man that does not have a vision does not need a woman. That's why you're sitting around when you meet a woman, you talking. The woman should understand if you ain't talking about no vision, you just talking about a gang or nothing. You ain't really got no vision. You understand? A lot of times she just like you because you're cute. Might hit her good or something. But pretty soon that damn stuff wear off. And she trying to see what the plan is. She trying to see how we going to move forward, how we going to progress. Because she want to have babies. But damn, ain't no plan on the table. She started nudging and pushing your butt. You started rejecting it because you done got lazy in most cases. If you do not know Where you're going, you don't need any help getting there. Well, you don't want nobody pushing you. It said the question is, what is vision? Vision is the mind's ability to leave the body and the conscious awareness of the present moment. I'm going to say that again. What is vision? Vision is the mind's ability to leave the body and the conscious awareness of the present moment, project their thinking and body into the future. You're a direct descendant of the Creator. That's exactly what the Creator did, black man. But if you wait on that mystery God, you're giving up all your ability and all your power. But you have that ability inside of you. We got to start tapping in now. It said, take notes. Take notes of what the future you will be doing and have, and then return to the conscious. It says, this again, take note of what the future you will be doing and have, and then return to the conscious awareness of the present. And show you what you will have, and then utilize that information to inspire you in the present. You can travel, black man, black woman. These keys were kept from us. Now they got to be given back. You can travel in time. Why? Because the scientists that can look down the wheel of time 20,000 years ahead of time and tell you exactly what man is going to be doing. They live on this earth right now, the 12 major and the 12 minor. You have that ability. Well, we destroy our brain cell with all the poison, all the bad foods, eating the wrong foods, drinking on your famous Martell, your famous Hennessy, and all these other things. But when you don't know, you don't know. I can understand it. But when you know, for those that know, you understand? You got to tap back in now. We got to use those abilities that we were created with from the beginning. Let me see what we got here. It says to bring into assistance what your vision suggested to you. That is what vision is. See, we have vision, don't know how to use it. Understand? Another tidbit. Very important, man. A man has to have a certain code of ethics and a line drawn in the sand of in his mind that when you probe certain boundaries, I will kill you and damn the consequences. Say that again. A man has to have a certain code of ethics and a line drawn in the sand of his mind that when you probe certain boundaries, I will kill you and damn the consequences. I got them damn codes because I don't mind you talking crazy to me. I can sustain that. I can handle that. Unless I just don't like you, just gave me a reason. But don't put your hands on me. Understand? Then I'm required to do something to you. Understand? I ain't bother nobody. Period. Not an aggressive person, but that's the Constitution. But this should be also for your family, brothers and sisters. It says, you, especially when you got your women out there working with these devils and stuff, and she's a beautiful woman, you know how they play them. It says, you will not touch or violate my wife and live. You will not touch my children and live. Period. That's a code, and I fear none but a law concerning consequences. That's a real man, people. You're not going to kill my children. You're not going to disrespect my wife. If she come home and tell me that white man will touch her on the behind and you just bought a house, so you say, well, next time you tell him go holler at Tyrone or something. No, brother. You don't want to lose that house or that extra money coming in. But I tell you one damn thing, that cracker might see me, might not. Because you have to weigh the situation. Now, if you don't want to deal with all the consequences, all you got to do, hell, just murder their ass and go about your business. Understand? Ain't nobody got to know. All of a sudden, he just come up dead. That's it. This is big guy talk. That's that soldier talk, but hell, that's the way things got to be done. We got to step it up. Police, you done knocked off one of my children unjustly, and you ain't been charged at all. You gonna go home to your little family, your children, hang out the bar and run out to the park and take vacation. You done murdered my son. You got my wife on TV crying. I always put the woman out there. Understand? You waiting on Benjamin Crump as a good brother. Well, I beg the difference. I got to find a way to get you, partner. Understand? Like the movie say, either I die trying. That's our code of conduct. For the Muslims in America, we don't speak on it much. But I was taught, if you kill one of us, devil, 10 will drop in America somewhere. Period. You ought to raise it to 20 now, though, at the time we're living in. All across America, a devil gonna drop. That's cold, but that's real. It's cold when you just murder us openly. It's cold when you just murder a Muslim brother. Openly think you're gonna walk this planet, or your brother and sister gonna walk this planet without no consequences. But the Muslim back in the day, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's what happened. Understand? Somebody dropped all across America. Never, I guess you heard that story about the so-called zebra killers in the Bay. I don't know all the story, but zebras, you know, they got them stripes, the dark stripes and the white stripes. Understand? That's why they call them zebra killers, because, you know, they allegedly, they had Muslims knocking off devils. I don't know. Understand? But that was part of the story. I just want to put that out there tonight. You understand? Because we got to get more soldiered up. I'm not advocating any violence. White boy that's listening tonight, I'm just saying that that should be a code amongst the black nation. Because y'all got yours. Understand? You won't even submit to a black man in power. You got that certain mentality. You just can't do it according to nature. Understand? You can't accept the black man ruling over you. You'd rather die. It's being taught by the white woman. They're very one to smile in your face and go to lunch with you. But they teaching their children something different at home. There's a different conversation amongst white people, period, that we are not privy to at all. You catch snippets of it in the media, social media. You catch some of their minds when they murder us. They killed a little girl in Los Angeles. Lady was confronting the police. He said, oh, that's just old news, like it wasn't nothing. They didn't even have to use any weapons on the man was on the ground. Didn't even have no weapons. In a busy department store, but it's in their heart. And then this was a brother that did it. Because he'd been hanging with the devil and took on that mindset. It says, and I'm going into Brother Nuri's book. I think this is a very good book. I'd like to send out my condolences to this brother too. Personally, I don't know him, but he's my brother. He lost his daughter. You understand? So he had my deepest condolence. And may Allah console him and be with him and his family. But the brother wrote a very good book. He said, after you say, I do. You understand? It's based on relationships and marriages. Understand? So we all need some more tidbits because we like little children. Things that you think we should know, we don't know. So we have to be re-educated, re-taught on how to be in a marriage and sustain a marriage and in relationships and what it takes. So the first part of this, it says marriage, half of your faith. It said we should learn that in order to get what we want in a relationship, we have to first understand what we are, or who we are, and how to identify in others that which we need to help us in our development into divine. It says, brothers and sisters, the sad truth is that if we don't get our house, our home right, nothing will go right for us. It says, I'm being honest with you. Marriage is half of your faith. And if you stay in a bad relationship, it does not become better, or you leave and get better. You eventually will begin to question whether God is really on your team, and it will mess with your faith. Some of us are in such bad marital situations that we are lovers of a husband, lovers of a wife that is verbally, physically, or emotionally abusive to us. It says we go home and we get cuts and abrasions and wounds and bruises, and then come into the world. And when you see your sister or brother in the streets, if your sister or brother just bumps the bruise, you attack her or him because you can't get at the source of the pain. Your mate, because you love them and fear they will leave you, we can't take anything from our brother or from our sister, nothing from that labor that you're involved in. You can't work good. You can't think right. You can't be offended without killing someone. We need to make our home life happier. Our home life is a launching pad, a source where we go to be fueled up to have the energy, the wisdom, the inspiration to go out into the world and conquer in the name of God, in the name of our people. Listen, sisters, you know, or at least you should know, that every man, no matter how good he is going to put you through something, right? Just like every woman, no matter how good she is, hands down, they're going to put a man through something, brothers. What we really want to know is whether or not the person can handle the trials of life. As New Edition said, storms will come. This we know for sure, but tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? When love is mentioned in the 13th chapter of the Corinthians, it says, love is patient. Love is kind. Love is long suffering. Love is not envy. Love does not boast. It keeps no record. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. Love always protects, always trusts, and always preserves. Love never fails. This is in the Bible. These are not acts that one receives. These are action words. This means love is not what you receive. Love is what you actually what you give. It says in the Bible, Lot didn't have a problem with his wife when they were courting. Lot didn't have a problem after they had already been married for a while, you know. You don't read about Noah having a problem when he was first getting to know his mate, right? No, after they had been married, he started having problems, right? That's what happens. Job didn't have a problem with his fiancé. He had a problem with his fiancé, with his wife. The pleading woman did not have a problem with her fiancé. She had a problem with her husband. When you're getting together, So you don't have all these problems until you get into this marriage. See, something comes different. We're going to cover this tonight. She has a problem with her husband. How the person expresses themselves to get a relationship started is one thing. But after the marriage, the expression changes, does it not? The same man and woman that seem so happy together in the fiancé stage now have problems with one another in the marital stage. What are we trying to understand? What we are trying to understand is how and why this happens. How two people can come from professing their love for one another before a huge crowd to nursing disdain in their hearts for each other and acting in a manner that's detrimental to all attempts to perfect union. Right? The reality is that the activity level and the way we treat one another when we try to get each other's versus the way we treat one another and the things we do after we think we already have one another dramatically changes. So the question is, I asked before a crowded room, how many of you are married? It's the question. Everybody who went to the mosque just under the peace of some pastor or reverend and exchanged vows in the company of both families will raise their hand because they got paperwork. They had a ceremony and therefore would say, I am married. This, brothers and sisters, is the beginning of a problem. You say, damn, why? I'm getting ready to tell you. In Islam, we do not consider a man or a woman that signed a contract that came before witness as married. We consider this ceremony, the wedding, to be the starting point of the process wherein which a man and a woman have finalized and published their intentions to become married. Listen, again, the root word of marriage is nikah, which means to be united. Until a man and woman have become one, then the process of marriage has not yet been fulfilled. That's why they say, the teacher like Muhammad say, a good woman is like having one foot in heaven, but she's the other half a man. You have to become united in marriage. It's different when you're courting because you're on your best. You spend your best game. You understand what I'm saying? Woman on her dime. You understand what I'm trying to talk about? She trying to pull you, you trying to pull her. Understand? But then once you get it, you get married and get home, be home about 6 months to a year, things might start to change. Understand? There is when our problem begins. They said, let me jump over this. Then the next thing you know, weight gain is real. You know, a woman have a baby, brother eating good now, and the woman cooking for him, start blowing up his damn self. Eating, falling asleep, going to bed. Woman have a child. Of course, she gonna put on weight. She got you now. You got it now, brother. Understand what I'm saying? Next thing you know, the gain is real. The health deteriorating. You begin to see people that went up to get each other go down after they find others. After they find each other, that's backwards mathematics. There's a law of the universe that said, whatever you do to get a thing, you must do to keep that thing. You understand? Listen, this means that whatever one does to get an object, the maintenance schedule has to be the same. Maintenance schedule meaning how you look to get him. You must keep yourself looking at good or better to keep him. However hard you work to get her, you must keep working that hard to keep her, brothers and sisters. However patient you were in conversation to get her, you must remain that patient after you get married when the two of you communicate. The same respect you show to get one another, you must keep that same level of respect for one another after you have one another. Whatever you weigh to get him, you must get your weight back down to keep him. Whatever you use to give her to get her, you must keep giving like that to keep her. How you talk to her, how you talk to him. Just take any verb that was engaged in the winning process, in the training, in the conditioning process, In the earning of this mate, you must do the same thing to keep that mate. You can't throw that out the window. This was making them a very, very important environment. This is why I started out with talking about the home got to be a certain type of environment. But you got to have a certain type of mind in the home. And it starts with the two people in the home, the man and the woman. It says, otherwise the mate would feel like you were perpetrating a fraud, that they were a victim of false advertising. Though they may never say it out loud, in their mind they begin to think that you tricked them to get them into a long-term commitment called marriage, so that you can get fat, sloppy, lazy, backsliding, and going to hell and take them to hell with you. Whatever you do to get a thing, you have to do to keep it, brothers and sisters. Am I right or wrong? You get married, you stop courting one another. Stop bringing the flowers. Understand what I'm saying? Stop going out to having that relaxing time. Stop having those nice communication and relaxing thoughts with one another. Well, I got enough. Or I got enough. Sister wake up in the morning, don't even fix their hair. Brother get up in the morning, don't even brush his damn teeth. Just run his butt around the house. Looking sloppy. Clothes all over the damn place. Forgetting what it takes to keep your family, brothers, and your wife. It says, marriage with Allah God is sacred, and therefore anything that interferes with marriage is strictly forbidden and seriously punished by Allah God. Then you go around, you ask your woman, you sit down, you talk to her. You said, okay, baby, what was it about me that you like so much? You want to know. And she answered, well, you were kind. He asked her how I'm doing now. What does she say? Not too good. And the brother in his mind is saying, dang, you seem to be a kind man. You seem to be a man of honesty and integrity. You were hardworking. You were so clean and handsome. You were in shape. You were strong. Then he asked her, am I any of that now? That's the question. And if she is being honest, she would say, well, you kind of, somewhat, some of that stuff to some degree. That's bad. You know, that's a lot of percentage gone, brother. If you kind of somewhat some of that to some degree, so out of 10 things that you were when she married you, about 3 of them remain. And out of those remaining 3, you're only somewhat of some part of some of that pretty bad. That's pretty bad mathematics. Sister, you do the part of some of that pretty bad mathematics. Sister, you do the same. If you can't remember that the things were, what the things were that you used to do to attract him, then ask him. He gonna tell you. Sometimes it's good because that's real talk. Sometimes we hold things in the back of our minds that we really want to say, but you know you really can't say it without an argument or offending someone or being misunderstood. But if you got real communication and you really have that real commitment, then you should sit down like that and communicate with one another. What's really going on? You understand? They said, what is that you liked about me so much? That's what the brother asked the woman. Once you get the list, the next thing to say is, you know, I apologize. I will get this thing together. And then you go to work at courtship after you get married. See, this is the science that we got to have amongst us. We don't have a science of keeping a marriage. These things I didn't have to know anything about when I decided to get married, because no one taught me any of this. I just had to go on what I thought I knew. You understand? Let's go on. It says, if you don't treat Allah God right, Allah God will destroy your wife or your husband. God is a jealous God. If you begin to take on the mindset of the R&B music and you begin to be one that can't sleep without her, can't breathe without him, can't eat without you, don't want to live without you, I can't go on. If you think like that about a mate, then you got God in a secondary position. Listen, this is very important. And since Allah God is a jealous God, he's going to go after what you put in his spot to make sure that he's number one. That's the male and the female. That's why everything got to be God-centered. Let's make a record talk about I can't do without you. Brother get so jealous of him when they kill the woman and kill the damn children. Boy, that's a sick ass man. Excuse my language. That's a sick man. How could you love something that much the way you'd rather destroy her or him and your children too? But do you love God like that? Because if you did, that thought would never come across your mind. But I'm going to move on tonight. I'm going to be fast-headed and quick moving down the mountain time. It says, in the beginning, the path to perfection. Everything in creation is manifest of the will of God. All the creation expresses the attributes and characteristics of this mighty being, the originator of the heavens and the earth. But the will of God is the power behind the throne. The will of God is the power behind the universe, its creation, its maintenance, and its substance. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that in the universe, there was once only three things in existence: electricity, material darkness, and the thought of God. The thought of God knew how to manipulate the electricity, causing it to strike the material darkness. The Holy Quran called the material darkness mud or sounding clay. And another ayat or verse is called a single essence. This black mud, this sounding clay, this triple darkness is not what we call darkness. When you turn the lights off, what we call darkness is not real darkness. It's the absence of light. This is why when you hit the light switch, it vanishes immediately. Where does it go is the question. It never existed, only in the mind. What was in the universe then was a material substantive. Now, let me read that back. What was in the universe then was a material substantive darkness that is comparable with the black mud of today. Inside of the material darkness, there were atoms present, but the atoms operated without any aim or purpose. And science, matter without aim or purpose is considered nothing. Allah God knew how to use his own thoughts to manipulate electricity, causing electricity to strike the materials of the darkness at the right place, at the right time, and electricity provided, for the lack of a better word, a jump. It says when electricity touches it and gives it a jump, you can pull the cable off and now the battery can move by itself. So is it with dead atoms. They were there, they had power, but they needed a jump. Allah God used his own mind, the unseen, to manipulate the electricity, directing it to strike the atom, bringing birth to an electron. From electricity. An electron is the electricity, and the electricity begins producing and orbiting electrons inside the atom. From the law of centrifugal force, we learn that everything that spins or revolves, it produces two forces, one centrifugal and one centrifugal. Slow it down a little bit so they can run that through your mind. Centrifugal means when it spins, it repels. Centrifugal Means when it spins, it pulls something in. A merry-go-round is using centrifugal force. If you don't hold on tight, it will spin you away from it. A tornado uses centrifugal force. When it spins, it doesn't repel, it sucks or pulls in. So it is in triple darkness. There was one atom began to revolve in space, and by the law of centrifugal force began to call other atoms unto itself, loaning the other atoms one of its orbital electrons and giving power to the other atoms next to it, building itself up until it produces molecules. Molecules matured and became cells. Cells began to develop, becoming an organ called the brain. Check this out. The organ called brain begins to think and brought into existence organs. Those organs became organ systems, and at the end of the process came what called an organism, which was God in the flesh, a human being. This is knowledge that they don't teach you. That's why I say the knowledge itself is so important. To get an understanding of self is key, brothers and sisters. How you were brought into existence by the Creator himself, not by that mystery God, because they can't tell you a damn thing about the mystery God at all. But that self-created God, that Creator, and how he brought about brain, how the universe operates and works. This is heavy knowledge. It says the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that it took the originator eons and eons of time to create himself. That's trillions upon trillions of years. The woman has a womb that matches the triple darkness, does it not? And what it took him as the originator trillions of years to do now, he can do the same thing in the material darkness called the womb of a mother, black woman, in 9 months. Inside the material darkness, Allah God created himself out of it. It was 75% water inside the womb of a mother. It's 75% of water. Because when that water, that bag bursts and that water come out, it's time. You know it's time to bring forth life. I've been there many times and brought 2 of my own sons out. Understand? We made sure everybody walk around that water burst. All right, we're gonna take you to the bed now, set you up a little bit, get ready to come. The contraction breakdown. It says, in the material darkness that Allah God created himself out of, there was 75% water inside the womb of a mother. It's 75% water. Allah God said in the Holy Quran that I, Allah, created you in the womb of your mother. The sperm has a head, but it doesn't have a brain, does it not? Listen. Anything without a head, without a brain, it says, a sperm has a head, but it doesn't have a brain. Anything with a head without a brain has space for intelligence, but does not have its own intelligence. I'm going to read that back. Anything with a head without a brain has space for intelligence, but does not have its own intelligence. What intelligence guided one sperm out of 1 to 300 million sperm to find one egg? Is the question. What made that sperm so wise that it knew how to navigate and avoid the white blood cells in order to latch onto the vaginal wall properly? Know how to climb up the vaginal tract to determine which egg was the one to be fertilized out of all the eggs that were present. What made that sperm so smart that after it went into the egg, it knew how to build a force field around the egg that stopped all the other sperm from getting in, is the question. It says, I submit that if the sperm had no brain of its own, but to bring human life into a system, meaning that 1 out of 300 million sperms admitted had to successfully reach 1 out of 10,000 eggs when it does, is considered a miracle. See, you're a miracle to be here on this planet tonight, brothers and sisters. But you don't understand yourself. White man that told you it won't be nothing, but you're already something. You understand? Look what it took for you to get here. Look how valuable that Asiatic black woman is to us, period. So we got to stop mistreating her. We got to teach her how to get that respect back for herself, brothers. That's why we got to bring about a complete change on this planet, so we can get right back on that square. You understand? And everything that come out the womb of a woman will be a God, knowing when they come out. Let's go on. That means that the intelligence that was in the head of the sperm was not from the mother, not from the father. Listen, it was from the Father of creation, God himself, who guided the sperm to the egg to bring you and I into existence. Think about these things. Was it not? We had nothing to do with that. Nor the mother. The thought of God manipulated electricity to strike a round object called an atom. And then from that atom came molecules, cells, organism, and a body. It was with the thought of God in the womb of the mother guiding, not electricity, but guiding sperm. The thought of Almighty God and Allah is in the womb of a woman. Look how valuable you is, black woman. Black man, know what we got in our midst. That's why we should kill anything to mess with this black woman. Period. Allah insists in the womb of a woman. Put that intelligence in. Let me go on though. It was the thought of God in the womb of the mother guiding, not electricity, but guiding sperm. The sperm didn't go and find the atom. The sperm found another round object called an egg. And in 9 months, the same thing that took trillions of years ago today only takes 9 months. Allahu Akbar. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that when Allah God was in the triple darkness creating himself, he had to go to war with darkness. If you think you are going to be righteous and religious but not be a warrior, you got something else coming, brothers and sisters. Some of you become so damn righteous and so Christianized that where you don't have to be a warrior, all you got to do is turn the other cheek. Because I'm so righteous. I turn the other cheek. But that ain't what the Creator does. The Bible says that God is a man of war. Does it not say that in the Bible? The first characteristic that you have to have if you are going to be a real man is you must be a warrior. You cannot be a weak-willed man if you want to survive in this world. You have to be a go-getter. You have to have some discipline. You have to have some fight, some drive, because that is the white man's world. Do you know what that means? That means that everything in this world is diametrically opposed to the black man being successful. Whenever a black man is trying to start a business, that's not economics. That's warfare. Economics is warfare. We must learn to understand what war is really about. When trying to buy a house, that is not economics, that's warfare. When you're trying to raise a child, that's not parenting, That's warfare. Listen, when you're trying to be a good husband, that's not just fancy or admirable. That's warfare. As men, you and I have to be a warrior mentally with everything we do in the white man's world if we're going to be successful. It says, patient means to struggle. Most of us think to be patient means to just sit still and wait for the Lord to go and let God, let the Lord go and let God. No. Patient means to struggle. And while you're struggling to be patient, you're waiting, but we are waiting with the right attitude. The originator had to be very organized in order to achieve his objectives, brothers. According to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that the Allah God went to war with darkness and he created himself. He then created his own planet simultaneously. Let me read that back. The originator had to be very organized in order to achieve his objectives. According to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that the Allah God went to war with darkness and he created himself. He then created his own planet simultaneously. Simultaneously is another way of saying at the same time. If there was nothing present but material darkness, electricity and the thought of God, and Allah God created the whole planet, earth at the same time, whatever he made himself of, he made the planet of. That's why I say earlier, the planet and man are the same. Whatever he made himself out, he made the planet of. That's why when we die, we say ashes to ashes. We are one and the same with the earth. Not going up in no damn sky. Now this one on, I pray that, I gave you a little bit of this that you can kind of draw on it. I know it's quite a bit, but we need to get this knowledge. This is the knowledge of self itself. This is knowledge of how we were brought into existence by that true and living God, not that dead one that they give you in the Bible or the book of scripture that they changed and gave you the King James Version. This is knowledge, brothers and sisters, that we need. This is entitled The Ideal Man. Every man who sees you wants to be you. Every woman wants to be your wife, and every child wishes that you were their father. Ideal man. What is a Muslim? Is the question. A Muslim is one who submits their will entirely to the will of Allah or God, whichever word you want to use. If there was nothing in existence but Allah, God, and this woman, and she subordinated her will to fulfill his will, then the first Muslim, let me read this back though. Now, this is very important. It's very important for all of us to understand, and really very, very, very important for the woman, our black woman, to understand who she really is. She's been told she ain't nothing. She's been called everything up under the sun. She called herself some of them same names. But that's not who you are. This is really who you are and the power that you possess. The most important being on this planet is the woman. Listen, what is a Muslim is the question. A Muslim is one who submits their will entirely to the will of Allah. If there was nothing in existence but Allah, God, and this woman, and she subordinated her will to fulfill his will, then the first Muslim is not Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. The first Muslim is not Abraham. The first Muslim is that beautiful black woman. She is the first Muslim. Allah, God, went into himself and created himself, his second self. And to this day, we find inside the male scientifically, or the X and Y chromosome. The female has only two chromosomes, has two X chromosomes. Why? Because the X chromosome is the sign of the female. The Y is the sign of the male. And the male is the duplicate version of the originator of the heavens and the earth. Inside of himself is her. She is a part of you, and therefore you cannot disrespect her without disrespecting yourself, black man. When y'all get on and make all these old foolish videos and call your woman all these B's and get her doing all these disrespectful things, that's because you brothers don't know your damn self. You're actually disrespecting yourself. That's why it bothers a brother sometimes when you see a black woman out of place, disrespecting herself, and really not knowing. Because this is the world done told her this is all right. She thinks she's really doing something. But she being other than herself. And Allah is very, very merciful because he knows you don't know. And he mad at the black man because we letting this go on in a white supremacist world that had dictated these thoughts and put that in the black woman's nature to be other than herself. And the black man is giving up his warriorhood to right the ship. Because we all afraid of dying. Well, we're going to die someday. And you don't believe in that true and living God. If it's not deemed for you to die on that day at that particular time, you ain't going nowhere, brother. But you got to be more like them brothers and our ancestors. Like we were talking about Dr. King today. He was willing to give up his life to fight for justice and freedom for our people. We got to be willing to give up our lives. My life, my death, my prayer, my sacrifice is all for Allah. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about no damn suicide. I'm talking about that warrior spirit that we was all created for. We can't even protect our own woman now. We have abdicated that part of our manhood. Brothers, there's shame on that original black man that will continue to allow that when we don't have the ability to come together and form that brotherhood, develop the highest order in the universe, and sit down and we talk and communicate and strategize on how we're going to right this ship amongst ourselves without no Caucasians around, amongst ourselves. You understand? And start putting steps into place and highly strategic to bring about a complete change in accord with the will of Almighty God, Allah himself. But God, Allah has to be in the center of the mix. Understand? And we draw on that divine knowledge for that help and that guidance that we're going to need on this mission. We are already behind enemy lines. All we got to do is go to the front line now, black man. It says you can't beat her without beating yourself. You can't lie without lying to yourself. If you're cheating on her, you're cheating on yourself. If you're neglecting her, you are neglecting yourself. She is your second self, black man. According to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, through his servant, the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we have the greetings of this ideal man and of this first successful family to this very day. Was the original man that created himself and his woman, the first successful family. And from that one, say it again. So we all connected. Add it up. From that one, from the creator and woman brought about billions from that one. Over time, trillions of years, populated this planet and the universe from that one, from self. Who is self? The creator himself. Who are you? Self. The original man. Direct descendant of the creator himself. Black people, we are one amongst many. We call him the originator. What was his name? We say Allah. The most underlying Muhammad explains when we look out into the universe. Listen, very important. Every star we see is a representation of the supreme beings that existed. The supreme being is on the scene today. We make history every 25,000 years. On 1 year for the circumference of our planet, but before the moon departed from the earth 66 trillion years ago, the earth was not approximately 25,000 miles. It was 35,000 miles in circumference, and we made history every 35,000 years at that time. Each time there's a cycle of time measuring 35,000 or 25,000 years. There's one supreme being and 11 major scientists and 2 minor scientists. These are scientists or gods of mathematics. They know how to tune in, but you have that ability, and calculate the thinking of the people, and they multiply the thinking by the actions of the people. By doing this, they are able to determine what will happen 25,000 years in advance. When their calculations are complete, they make a book called the Mother Book. Honorable Elijah Muhammad refers to it in the book, The True History of Jesus. You should get it. It's Al-Quran, the Holy Quran, not the 144th chapter that we have in the Holy Quran, but one that is much bigger. The mother of books. The Bible is called the Scripture. Both the Quran and Scripture, Bible, are from the same book. From the mother book, the Quran comes from. From the Bible, the book of scriptures comes from the mother book, the supreme knowledge tonight. The Bible is called the Scripture. Both the Holy Quran and Scripture Bible are from the same book. Scripture means a part of a greater writing. Look it up. So there's a bigger Bible and a bigger Holy Quran that does not cover 6,000 years or 15,000 years, but covers the full 25,000 years. Cycle of history. All of those scientists, supreme beings, were real people who lived. We do not know any of their names, so we just say Allah. Based on this, Allah is Allah. Allah all. To say Allah covered all the scientists, the supreme beings who have ever lived, it covers all of them. Once upon a time, I had the names of the 12 major scientists and what all of them did. But 19 keys and Asia one of them got a hold of my paperwork. I ain't seen this since. You understand? It knocked me off. That's back in the days, though. It said, He said the originator Allah was a warrior. He was patient, he was organized, and he was a hard worker. He was a giver of gifts. This originator had certain characteristics about himself. He was a producer. Therefore, to be a real man, you must be a producer. In order to be a producer, the originator of the heaven and the earth had to be to take his thoughts and manipulate electricity, the material darkness in a certain sequence, organize it, activate it to bring birth to everything that assists in creation. The originator had to be a wise man. Not only was he wise, but he had to be organized. And since it took him eons and eons of time just to create himself, he also had to be patient and hardworking. Most interesting about this originator is before he ever had a relationship. Listen, the most interesting thing about the originator is before he ever had a relationship, he engaged in working on himself. And that's what most men fail to do. We fail to work on ourselves. A lot of them try to get into a relationship where we got that mother mentality, try to get some woman to raise your butt. And it don't work like that. You got to get into yourself, black man. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Make your weakness become your strengths. The originator is that before he ever invited a woman into his life, he had already worked on himself. And in fact, before Eve ever created sun, moon, and stars, he engaged in self-study and analysis. Say that again. Before he ever created the sun, moon, and stars, he engaged in self-study and analysis. He employed wisdom and organization to do work that was so hard that it was considered making war with the darkness. This was hard work. To do this for eons and eons of time to make sure that he was on a certain level with a certain amount of force and power of being before he invited anything else into his assistance. That's before he even brought the sun, moon, and stars out, brothers and sisters. Before he even brought a woman out. You understand? This is a good lesson for the black man. When the originator came forth, the most honorable Elijah said he created his home planet simultaneous to his own self-creation. Therefore, at the same time he was creating himself, he was creating his home. Understand that before he had a family, he had already developed the formula for homemaking. He had already set it up in his mind how he was going to make his home. Check it out. When he brought this female into assistance from himself, he was already wise, organized, a producer, patient, hardworking, and he had an environment that he had already put in motion that she could be invited into. Allah, that's that real black man. That's that original black man. This is what we got to get on our deen. We got to get on our square, black man. We got to get ourselves together first. Then we can bring our woman into our home. Our environment is already set up. Understand? Then we won't keep losing our families. We won't keep coming from broken homes, broken men, broken women, broken children. This is what the new world order from the original man is getting ready to bring back into existence. This world must be destroyed to bring this into play, black man. Well, we got to start this right now, today, tonight. It says, We can glean from this study is that it would make sense for the black man to work on himself, engage in self-creation process, not just before he invites a woman to his life, but while he is married. The triple darkness that a man faces today is not physical. The three layers of triple darkness we must create ourselves out of as men now are mental, physical, and financial. As a man, we must follow the example of the perfect first man. We have an example in front of us now. You've been given that example tonight. The originator created his whole planet simultaneous to his self-creation, meaning he assured that he always had a place for his family to dwell in, to live in, and he had established the rules of governance for that environment. That's what I mean when I say the rules and set up the protocol. You got to establish those rules in the home. But when you meet that woman and you tell her your vision, and you tell her part of your mind, that divine mind, the type of man you want, the type of family you want, the type of environment that you want to welcome her in. And you sit back and you look at her. And if she wants that divine environment, you know that's your woman. If she rejects that, then that ain't the woman you need, brother. Because you got a righteous environment that's already set up. You understand what I'm saying? You already got the governing rules of the home based on the Creator himself in the home. You got it all set up. Your way of living, the way you eat, you got prayer in the home, you got a clean, organized home, you're a producer, you're a hard worker. But let me go on. It said, what is so beautiful is that the originator created his whole planet, and he was always a giver of gifts simultaneously. Have you ever wondered, sister, why does a flower mean so much? Why do diamonds and gold mean so much? Why do we even use these tactics of gift giving as a man to help show love, affection, and appreciation to you, sisters? Where did it come from? A flower grows out of the earth. Diamonds are in the earth. If the originator created his whole planet simultaneously, then he brought birth to what is called the earth. When you get a flower, diamond, or gold is a small copy of what the originator did. The man duplicates the originator on a smaller scale with less resources when he gives a woman a dozen roses, a diamond ring, a gold necklace. Courtship after marriage on the male side means that he must be a giver of gift. They said a woman does not require many expensive material gifts. The woman is more spiritual minded. So it's not the material value that's in the sentimental value. The sentimental value attached to the gift always outweighs the financial value attached to the gift. If you give a woman a $5,000 necklace and throw it on the bed, guess what? Guess what she'll do? Throw the damn thing on the bed. She will throw it back at you and say, I don't want that. The same one, if you give her a $5 pair of costume jewelry earring that you think matches her personality and you would like to see her in, have them gifts wrapped and sit them on the pillow on her side of the bed. You don't have to say anything to her. Just add a small handwritten card, brother. Then step back and watch what this gesture does to her spirit, disposition, mind, and the household environment. These are tips, brother, we got to start using, brother, on this special black woman. I'm trying to tell you. Brother make unnecessary mistakes because they do not understand what their wife is actually attracted to and attached to. She is attracted to and attached to the sentimental value more than the financial value. It would be better to provide a bunch of odd-end gifts, a necklace, a purse, so spending money, a trip to the nail salon, dinner at a restaurant is a very loving manner. That to do things as a method of atonement or for some wrong, or because you think you are supposed to do them. That brother go buy all type of stuff because he's trying to get back in. This is not to say that if you have the wherewithal finances to provide that you shouldn't, but it should be tempered with reason and a sincere love and appreciation. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that the second self of Allah, or Allah, was his first act of creation. You said, well, what about the whole planet? He said simultaneously. Well, Allah, God, is manufacturing, creating himself. He's duplicating himself on a bigger side. He's making himself to be a blood, bone, and flesh. And simultaneously, he's producing a planet that is made of vegetation, rocks, and water. He's making this body, but he's making a whole planet that has the same nature as his own body. When you're looking at nature, you're looking at yourself. Everything in nature is inside of you. Allah, wow. Why? Because the earth and man are one and the same. The first act of creation was to make his mate. I am standing before the sun, the moon, and the stars. The black woman was here. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan was questioning the most honorable Elijah Muhammad one day at a dinner. The Mr. Louis Farrakhan asked his teacher, when was the black woman created? Just a question. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad answered, there never was a time when the black man was out his woman. Honorable Mr. Farrakhan asked Honorable Elijah Muhammad again. What I mean is, was it before the sun and moon? I mean, when was it? I heard that was right around the time of the moon. Well, is that true? And Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in response again, brother, there never was a time when a black man was without his woman. In order to have time, you have to have two objects that are relative to each other in existence. Listen, both of these objects must have a measurable distance between them. You don't have two relevant objects in motion between these two. If you don't have two relevant objects in motion between these two, you cannot have time. We base time off the sun. Time is motion. It's relevant between two objects that's separated. One has to move toward the other, right, in order to make time. When there was no one here, period, but Allah, he made woman, that's when time began. Now we base time off of the sun, do we not? Think about that. Before there was even a sun, was there time? These are things we got to start putting our mind on. This is big God energy tonight. You said, brother, there never was a time when the black man was without his woman. In order to have time, you have to have two objects that are relative to each other in existence. Both of these objects must have a measurable distance between them. Where you don't have two relevant objects in motion between these two, you cannot have time. We base time off the sun. If the sun was not yet in existence before the woman, then time was not present then. Right? To understand this is to understand that this means there was a time period before the creation of the sun, that the second self of Allah was in a cold, dark world with her man, but she wasn't complaining. I'm just about finished, brothers and sisters. See how much work. Yeah, I'm about finished. I ain't gonna hold you long. I give you too much of this and run right out one end to the other. But this is supreme wisdom and knowledge that we need to have. We need to incorporate it into our studies. We need to bring this into our homes. Ultimately, it will reign supreme across this planet. Understand? The Holy Quran teaches that the woman is the consoler of the man. What is a consolation? What is consolation? It is ease. It is to ease the man from the burden, from the pain and burden of the labor that Allah God has imposed upon the man. Allah God has given a man and female whose duty by nature is to ease the burden of man, to console, to give peace and quiet of mind. Well, he knows that this demand is in his nature or not. If not met, then the power in the creative force of love is eroded, because this man duty or right is not fulfilled. It says the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches that when Allah God created himself, he made her to match everything. He decided in his own imagination. Think about this now. She smells like he wants her to smell, black man. The texture of her skin is just like he wants it, is it not? The form of her body, the sound of her voice, everything about her is a tailor-made physical replica of God's supreme imagination. And I went to a coffee shop today, you know, you had to pull up. And there was a sister on there, and she had such a pleasant voice and pleasing voice. The vibration and tone was so beautiful. Hell, I started to buy two items. And I pulled up and told her, so you had such a pleasing voice. You understand? You understand the way the vibration and tone of that female voice was so pleasing to hear. You understand? They said when a man looks at a woman, he has greater awe factor because she is exactly what he is looking for. It's the man that gets down on his knees and asks, will you marry me? It's the man that opens the door. It's the man that must maintain, protect, provide for the woman. It's the man that has to be willing to die for his family, work for his family. Only a punk husband would love to check his wife. Only a punk husband would love to check his wife brings home more than he loves her position as the second self of God. Brother, I want to caution you here. If your wife come home and tell you some cracker on the job disrespected her, then she gives you a report that he touched her on her behind, and you sit there like some punk talking about, baby, we just got this new house. We can't shake the trees too much. You understand? This is where the punk is talking. Sister, if he pulled that move on you, listen, then you need to tell him to go around the corner and call Tyrone. Allah, God created a woman to fulfill certain needs. He had one need was that she was to fulfill was his need for comfort and consolation. Comfort and console him while he was at war with darkness. A woman has to be both a nurse and a doctor. The nurse is the one who does the initial assessment to determine what's wrong. You understand? That's why my brother Nadal, when he used to go to Japan and come back and tell us about the women, you understand? Because he had a wife in Japan and how the women were different. Well, you can come in the house and she automatically come to you and take your shoes off. You didn't have to even bring you nothing to drink. She had your dinner ready and all things. She just knew because she studied you. She knew your mind, your ways, and your habits, your likes and your dislikes. You understand? How the man is honored. In America, there's no honor because we out of pocket. The nurse takes the complaint and then reports to the doctor. The doctor's job is to figure out what the appropriate treatment is to get the patient back to optimal level. So you're working to get your man back up. As a man, you have to be a nurse. And as a woman, you have to be the nurse and the doctor. When your husband comes home out of the world, he has some contusions and abrasions, some cuts and laceration from being in this world. When he comes home, you must assess the damage like a nurse and then figure out what kind of spices and herbs to add to the food to heal him. What do I need to say? What do I need to do? Well, sometimes, man, you come home, man, you've been through all types of stuff. You know, you don't tell your wife everything. But sometimes you just want to come home and sit still, man. I'm trying to tell you. And you ain't saying nothing to nobody in particular. You ain't mad at her. You just ain't feel like talking. You understand? And automatically, sometimes a woman think, you know, she done did something wrong because you ain't saying nothing. Understand? And she'll start arguing with you too. Understand? Why you ain't saying nothing? Well, baby, look, you don't know what. This is man business, and I ain't got time to be sitting up telling you FOI business or what challenges I might have faced that day and had to go through a decision I had to make, and some things you had to take. And you just want to come home and just calm down. Let all that drain up out of you. You understand? And sometimes you just want to be to yourself. You understand? It ain't got nothing to do with the woman. You just need that time. And these are the things that woman need to study about her man. You understand? Instead of taking it the wrong way. You understand? Sometimes you might be a little snappy when you come home. It ain't really nothing that you done did, because you give me enough time and I'm gonna come back apologize for that anyway. I'm home now. I'm in my space. I'm trying to release all of this. You understand? Trying to calm down. You understand? These are things we got to start learning about one another, so we can have appropriate peace and understanding, peace, love, and happiness in the home. Black people, black man, black woman. When he come home to a beautiful looking woman who is taking care of herself, to a clean, relaxing environment with good home cooked food, to a wife who understands that the number one ingredient in that bean soup is not tomato, onions, or garlic. Number one ingredient a good woman puts in the food is love. You understand? While you're stirring that pot, sister, you should be sending the energy of love from your mind and your heart through your arm, through your hand, through the spoon into that pot. When a man gets a bowl of that bean soup, he should be able to say, damn, this is good, with an exclamation point. When you're treating the man right, consoling the man, comforting the man, complimenting the man, rubbing him on his back, feeding him good food, he can't wait to get up for prayer. He up for prayer, calling on Allah God, and then he goes out into the cold world and conquers it and brings something back for you and your family with joy in his heart and a smile on his face. He ain't dreading coming home. Yeah, I got to go through this damn door. Take your time getting out the car, hell. You stay a little later, hell, you don't even want to come to the house because you know what you got to come through the door with sometimes. Black will understand. Frown on the back on the face. Damn. You come through the door, you can't say too much because you might kick off an argument right there. You understand? We don't want this type of stuff amongst us anymore. You understand? Pop Keys trying to give you these keys, brother, so we can live a better life. And made the black man live a little longer. But we got stress upon stress upon stress upon stress. Always trying to find solutions to problems. We're always dealing with a world don't want us to be successful in. I'm talking about that man that's out here doing something. I ain't talking about that nigga, that lazy Negro that got his wife out here bringing in the check while you sitting your funky butt at home playing with the PlayStation. When you come home, you got all your partners at the house. Y'all sitting around smoking and kicking it. Understand? And trying to give orders like you own something. Now, I ain't talking about that, man. I'm talking about that godly man. Understand? That don't mind getting up, putting in that time. Make sure his family's secure and protected. The woman is respected and treated right. You got a nice, godly environment and keep prayer in the home and get up, say a prayer, you gone. When they get back home till dark. Understand? Or you might come home, get you something to eat, might have to run back out. Understand? Because you got another business engagement or you got another meeting, and you might not get home to 2 or 3 in the morning. Understand? And your woman comfortable with because you know you out there take care of business. You ain't out there woman chasing. You ain't out there conniving and cheating. You understand? Or you come home, get back to the home, man, late at night. You can pull your clothes off and fall in bed, man, and relax. Go to sleep and get right back up. You got about 4 hours sleep, you got to get back up and hit it again. And sometimes when you got that little time off, you understand? And you pick certain days amongst one another when you may have a few disputes, and you know you pick a day that this our day, where we really sit down and we communicate and talk about the thing we might offend one another on. You understand? And we go out, sit down, talk, might get something to eat, whatever. Go to the park, whatever. And you had that discussion, then that's it. It's over with. Understand what I'm saying? That's big guy, isn't he, talking like black? He pop keys, dropping them seeds for you. Now you better take these seeds. You want to have some peace now, I'm trying to tell you. So we got to build a new world. He said, after Allah's self-creation was complete, he wanted something to look at that was kind or pleasing to the eyes. Sure, I got this. This alone should stress to each and every sister that the sheer level of importance of a woman's appearance. You should never look like 10 miles of bad road, says Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You should look better going to the job than you do when your husband comes. Let me go that back. You should never look like 10 miles of bad road. You should never look better going to the job than you do when your husband comes home. Allah, God needed someone to talk with about his desires, who would help him define and meet his objectives. The reality is that a man can't talk to a woman that doesn't possess knowledge. How can he talk business with you if you don't study business? Anything he's interested in doing, becoming, or having, you should be studying those things. So those things so that you can give him the level of encouragement and wise counsel needed in order to help him become what he has set his mind to do. You understand? See, we have to become one. He needs a helper, not just any helper. He needs a big helper. Said, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan makes it clear, sister, big in mind, not big in body. So you got to continuously learn to study. When you got a man that's out here taking care of business, so business can take care of you all. Understand? Can't just sit on TV watching Jerry Springer all damn day, or watching the story that got him on the damn telephone. And any man that does not have a vision, listen, brothers, does not need a woman. If you do not know where you're going, you don't need any help getting there. You ain't got nothing to do. You ain't got no what you need a woman for, brother. Man, will hang out by yourself, kick it with your partner. Wait for the next Xbox to come out. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't know where you're going, you don't need any help getting there. You're already there. A man has to be a man of vision. If Allah God already saw in his mind himself and everything in his creation before it came into existence, listen, Allah God already saw in his mind himself and everything in his creation before it came into existence. That is something I always think that is so powerful though, because Allah God only had thought, but he saw in his mind a vision of himself in the physical form. And everything that he needed to bring in existence, the sun, the moon, the star, the woman, the vegetation, the fowls, the water, everything he saw in his mind, and he went to work in it. It is mind. That's why we say thoughts are things, black man, black woman. So be careful what you think, because you can bring it into existence. You understand? This is heavy. He had vision. What is vision is the question. Vision is the mind's ability to leave the body and the conscious awareness of the present moment. Project your thinking and body into the future. I said project your thinking and body into the future. Examine the future self. Take note of what the future you will be. Do and have, and then return to conscious awareness of the present and show you what the future you will look like. Show you what you will do. Show you what you will have, and then utilize that information to inspire you in the present, to bring in existence what your vision suggests to you. That is what vision is. A good brother of mine, Brother Fatan, stated yesterday, and sometimes a man can have vision, which is good, but it can cause confusion in the home, because your woman doesn't have the same vision and can't have the same understanding into the future. And when you try to implement it, she don't understand what you're doing, and it can cause conflict. But man must do what he must do, and your woman must have complete confidence in you. You understand? She must submit to you if you're an upright man. You understand? That's why I say sometimes, you know, fathers are not very well liked. Mothers are always loved. Because you have to make those hard and tough decisions, being the head of your family. And you don't have time all the time to try to explain. That's what you know. Because everything cannot be explained in words as well. You understand? Only you know in your mind what you see and envision and how to bring it into existence. You understand? Through your mathematical calculations. You understand? So remember, brothers, you have to be able to make those tough decisions. And you have to teach your woman to be patient. And she has to learn to be patient with her man. As long as he's producing and showing forth that you have the ability to get the job done, sister, you got to step aside. So there's a lot more to this, but I won't give you that anymore tonight. The next one I'll bring up is know your role and play your part. I'll give you that next week. But I think this is very important for us to get this knowledge and start working on it, executing it, going inside ourselves, correcting ourselves, develop a stronger, better relationship, develop a strong, righteous family, using these keys, knowing our ability, learning not only that once you married, no, that's when you go to work. You understand? Don't fall off, pick it up. Learn how to continue to court one another. Learn and understand that woman is more spiritual. You have to tap into her spiritual energy. You have to make your word bond. You understand? You can't not be guessing. Guessing destroys persistence. You can't be wrong. You got to be right. If you say go right and you're supposed to go left, now you done lost a couple of degrees, brother. Learn how to not take your hardship out on your woman and vice versa on one another. You're the keys to a successful marriage. We got successful marriages. That means we got strong, black, upright families. That means there's nation time. You understand? Because the world we want to build is not the world we live in today. We want all of this to go away. We want to bring gods on the planet and bring that creative force and that vision and unity. Unity starts in the home first. Understand? So Pop Keys, you know, with my honor and pleasure to be before you tonight. And I pray that I was able to offer you something that you can use. This is divine knowledge and wisdom, supreme knowledge. There's a lot of keys that were dropped tonight in this subject, period. I try to give you something that we can use to better ourselves. Like I say, when I'm teaching you, I'm teaching myself as well. I have a better understanding about myself, and I can take this knowledge and give it to my grandchildren. When they come in, as they grow, this knowledge will be waiting for them. I have sons that need this knowledge. They're still growing and developing, finding their ways, you know. So I'd like to thank you. Thank you, thank you. But first and foremost, I'd like to thank Allah, the candles in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad and the most honorable Muhammad Elijah Muhammad. But I always say, I don't care who's in front of us today. Always keep the honorable Elijah Muhammad in the forefront. That's our blueprint. That's our foundation. That's the master teacher. You understand? So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Be strong, stay black, be careful, protect yourselves. Change is coming. Without change, there will be pain. Understand? But know at the end of the day, it's our time to take charge of this planet. So Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. All praise due unto Allah. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Good night. Stay sharp out here, black man. It's our time. War time. Understand?